ago as well, so it'll be a fantastic match to watch. You mentioned FIFA. We gotta discuss that. I can't believe I've waited this long to bring it up. I mean, every day it seems like something new happens. Today, the FIFA announced that it's suspending the 2026 bidding process for now as it evaluates corruption charges, and I think Jack.
Hi, I'm Teresa Elliott with the Elliott Company and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate. And I'm excited to be sponsoring Conversations with Suzanna, a show that will connect you with the tools you can use to live your life in peace and harmony. Simply go to elliotomaha.com and click on Life Tools for empowering ideas to live your life with purpose and harmony.
If you've been car shopping lately, you might have noticed a striking new design on the lot. I'm talking about EPA's new completely redesigned fuel economy and environment label. For most people, the beauty of a car extends to its mileage, their pocketbook, and the impact on the air we all breathe. With the new label, you'll find all this information in a more usable format. Things like dollar savings over 5 years, emissions ratings, and fuel economy comparisons with other vehicles. It's a new generation of labels for a new generation of cars. Learn more at fueleconomy.gov.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy
When I grow up, I want to be a bike that races around the country. When I grow up, I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper.
I want to be a...
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online. For like a year, she couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
I burnt everything.
And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America, but unfortunately there's something else we got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? How annoying is it to begin a night out not knowing where to go? Save time by checking out Omaha.com's food and dining page. World-Herald food critic Sarah Baker Hansen is your local taste tester, reviewing restaurants, telling food stories, and starting debate with her quarterly Food Prowls. Sarah and her foodie crew hit the best joints for burgers, pizza, pork tenderloin, and much more. Check out her blog on omavore.omaha.com.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. My webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If your home or apartment was built before 1978, renovations can spread lead paint dust that can cause children 6 and under to grow up with behavior issues and even severe learning disabilities. That's why, if you're having work done, the EPA now requires that your contractor be lead safe certified. Don't let lead paint take away your child's future before it even begins. For a lead safe certified contractor in your area, visit www.epa.gov/get-lead-safe or call 1-800-424-LEAD.
Conversations with Suzanna, broadcasting live on the World-Herald Live app or on omaha.com. Catch her every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, empowering you to look for and accept the good in everything. The future is bright. We'll take a look at what's to come in yours. This is Conversations with Suzanna.
Okay, you're exactly where you need to be, right here with, are you ready? Conversations with Suzanna, heard every single day on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Omaha World-Herald Live. Please join us. We talk about the things you want to talk about. We talk about the things that will empower you. We talk about anything you need to hear. Please join us completely here from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 1, Omaha World-Herald Live, our Omaha World-Herald. Suzanna, I have just been tweeting out the number because this is going to be an interactive radio program. We don't always have those, but we're talking a subject that, you know, a lot of us have had to deal with in our life. And what we want to talk about is we want your opinions, your thoughts. So please feel free to give us a call at 402-255-2000 when we open the lines to talk about bullying. Yes, that's what the conversation is today. It's about bullying. And in my office today, or in the studio, if you're at omaha.com/Suzanna, you see this beautiful woman across from me. Her name is Dr. Patricia Newman. She is a clinical child psychologist. And in the year 2000, she started a group called Respect. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
That was a rocky beginning because I was just trying to do too much and got to get a little better organized. I had you in here and I enjoyed talking to you. So you started Respect in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. First of all, how did you become a psychologist? What took you there? What took you on the road to handling children's psychology, no less?
Okay. Well, I started as an elementary school teacher and then a special education teacher, and then I became a child psychologist. So it went kind of in that way as far as education. But when I was a child, I had a pretty challenging childhood, as many of us do. And I spent a great deal of it in foster care, and my parents divorced very early. My mother worked very, very hard, wasn't as able to be with us as much as she could. So it was hard. It was hard growing up in a small town, and there wasn't as much support for her as she needed. And so I actually, even as a young child, thought that I would like to grow up and help kids so they didn't have to go through some of the things that I was going through.
What a blessing.
It is a blessing, yes.
What a blessing you did. What did you learn from foster care? Because my secretary has foster cared over 100 children.
Mm-hmm.
God bless these people.
Right. What I learned is that, biology isn't everything. And people, it doesn't take... Biology isn't everything. People can love you for who you are, if they're your biological family or not. And sometimes it's not even that someone has to bring you into their home or to give you money. Sometimes it's just an interaction that they can have with you on a day-to-day basis that can be sustaining for you and get you out of a really bad place. So, you hope everybody has available family to love and care for you. But a lot of us, a whole lot of people don't have that in place. And so... you can find it. It's out there. People have it to give, and they love and they take care of you.
Well, one of my favorite authors is Wayne Dyer. Have you ever heard of him?
Sure.
And he started in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sort of like our past does build us, and the past has built you to wanting to help empower others.
Right.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful, sorry for the struggle,
right.
But I'm grateful that you found something to do that will empower others. As a foster care parent, what would you say was the greatest gift for you?
I was kept safe. And that seems simple, but for children who aren't safe, who aren't fed, who are frightened, that safety is invaluable. Mm-hmm. It's simple, but it's invaluable. And it's the basic foundation for what children need to grow in other areas of their life.
To feel safe. Mm-hmm. I love that. So then what grade were you teaching?
I taught special education. I taught multiply handicapped and children with behavior problems and emotional disturbances.
And what did being a teacher of that teach you?
Well, I just love them. I think what it mainly taught me is that there are two things that kind of shape my work world. One is that you need to be part of a team. Not one person has every answer. And because there's no magic answer.
And it's very hard to reach out to other people for answers.
It is.
It is hard.
You have to let your pride down. You have to be able to ask for help. You have to be able to say, I can't make this work. Please help me. I don't know. So that helped me. And then the other part is that we talk about individual differences a lot, but they're real. And people are where they are in this giant staircase of development or life or whatever you want to call it. And you want to help people, in my field, you want to help people get to the next step. And depending on where they are in the staircase, that's different for everybody. And how they get there is different for everybody. So working with kids with special needs did that for me. You work in a team and you take people where they are and you include them as much as possible. You include them in that decision making of where they want to go and how they want to get there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So when do you think we can start those lessons with our children to guide them in the path that will support them?
Well, I think you start right away. Certainly you start attachment things right away, right? I mean, babies cry, you pick them up, you hug them, you feed them. And as they're starting to walk and they're making choices about do they want their applesauce or, their bananas, slices. I mean, you give them choices and you listen to them and you talk with them and not at them. I mean, all of those processes.
With them, not at them.
Right.
Explain that to me, please.
Well, and I mean, it's a conversation. It's a two-way dialogue rather than a monologue at young children. And that helps them stop and think about how they're going to respond and what they think about what you said, even if it's something very simple for a young child. So I think the processes in how we interact in our families and what our children see in their families and the relationships that their parents have with each other and how they treat their parents and their aunts and their uncles and so forth. All of that is something that starts very early on. I mean, the power of role modeling and what children see in their homes is so important because they internalize that, and they then, that's how they act.
So if the mother smokes outside and doesn't smoke in front of the kids, do the kids still pick up that pattern of smoking, do you think? Or if they do that drinking every night, do you think the kids really absorb that?
You know what I think? I think they might not know that you're smoking, and they might not know that you're drinking, but they know, an intuitive child will know that you're doing something that you're anxious about, that you don't want them to know about. And sometimes that makes children very anxious because they are so self-centered that they might well assume that's about them, and then they can become anxious.
Well, and when the child parents go through a divorce, the children may then think it's their fault.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
So you started this group called Respect.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why you started the group in the year 2000 for Respect.
Well, if you are I've been in private practice for a very long time, since 1987. As a child psychologist.
Okay.
And working in schools, and many schools with many children. And when children come in, almost always a prime component of what they're working on are social relationships. And how they interact with peers is a big issue. And bullying was huge. And when I started this in 2000, many people here in Omaha would say, oh, it's really not a problem here. It only happens in this community or that community. And now, of course, there's been so much research since that time. We all know that the data shows us that it's a component of life throughout everywhere. But at that time, there wasn't curriculum for it, and there wasn't data on it, and people weren't talking about it. And when they were talking about it, they'd often say, well, it's just a fact of life, and you got to toughen up and get through it. And I would say, well, yeah, but, like diphtheria used to be a part of life, right. And we found a way to handle it. And, right. So we have ways to educate children about what bullying is and what dating violence is and what child abuse is. We can give them good information, and we can give them strategies and behavioral techniques that are more likely to help them be successful. And we can give them resources to reach out to help themselves and to help their peers, because mostly kids will go to their peers and to other bystanders,
people their
right,
same age,
right, mm-hmm. rather than adults. So we have this ability to do this. So, and it's like theater is a great way to do it, because you can get big groups of kids at a time, mm-hmm. in a safe environment that's very entertaining. It gets their attention and keeps it, and it allows them to interact.
So you actually put on plays.
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, we do.
About bullying.
We have programs preschool through adult. And they are on bullying and safety in social media, cyberbullying, child sexual abuse, teen dating violence, preschool through adulthood. And we also do artist in residence programs. We do parent and teacher training. We do a conference. And we use forum theater, all kinds of theater, which in my world of psychology, we would use with social skills training and getting people to role play and practice their responses and try out different ways of responding, those kinds of things in every part of our theater.
Marvelous. Well, I'm going to tell you the 11 facts I found about bullying.
Okay.
And then I would like you to tell me what. Over 3.2 million students are victims of bullying each year. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think when we go to schools, almost every child and every adult will raise their hand that they've experienced bullying at some level.
Approximately 160,000 teens skip school every day because of bullying.
Absolutely. They're afraid. They don't want to be made fun of. They don't want to be different. Bullying interferes with their learning. Sometimes they're bullied by adults in their lives. Right?
Okay. 17% of American students report being bullied 2 to 3 times a month or more in the school.
Right.
Is that true?
Right. Well, by the nature of the definition of bullying behavior is behavior that happens over and over. So it's repeated. So, yes.
1 in 4 teachers see nothing wrong with bullying, and will only intervene 4% of the time?
I don't know that research.
Whoa, that would scare me.
That would scare me too.
That would scare me. By the age 14, less than 30% of the boys and 40% of the girls will talk to their peers about bullying. We need to help them to reach out more.
Right, we do. We do.
And what is the shame of why they don't reach out?
Well, sometimes they don't understand that this is a common thing that's happening to many people. So they feel very different. And remember, in adolescence, everybody wants to be the same. They all want to fit in. So they don't want to fess up that this is happening. But they don't realize also that it's happening to many other people. So it's very shaming. I mean, shame is a very powerful, to feel that you have no control and that maybe these things people are saying or doing you deserve or that are true. All of this, it's very painful for kids. And lots of times they don't know what to do about it. You know, people say, stand up, be strong. Well, what exactly does that mean? You know, that's kind of vague, really, from a behavioral perspective. So it's hard for kids. So they shut down. Many internalize it. Many act it out. They get anxious. They get depressed. They get angry.
So if my child, a teenager, stops going to school and he's not telling me he's being bullied, how do I help him? What would you suggest I do?
Well, and that's really good what you said, because what you talked about was a change of behavior. So whenever we see a change of some kind of behavior with a child or an individual of any age, we can be concerned about what might be going on. So if you see a change in behavior, I suggest having lots of open-ended questions. You know, say, honey, I just watched this show and I heard about bullying. Is that something you experience? Or even if it depends on the relationship you have with your child, which is why it's so important to start talking to them very early, so that you can just, have a continued conversation throughout their lives. But you can ask them directly, honey, I'm kind of worried. Usually you're so talkative, but you haven't been talking to me for the last few weeks. What's going on at school? Why do you think this is? So, and encourage them.
And if they say nothing.
Well,
I got that feedback a lot.
Right,
from my
sure you do.
teenagers.
Sure, me too. And I have 2 kids too. So, okay, honey, well, I just want you to know I'm still concerned. You have to know I love you. I'm your mom. It's my job to tell you I'm still concerned. I'm going to keep an eye and I'm still here and I'm going to keep checking in. And then I would start asking around. I would do it subtly. I wouldn't do it aggressively, but I would go to people who he or she spends time with and I would ask, what's going on? Because sometimes you'll find out that there's some major thing going on at school. Sometimes there are just things that you don't know about as a parent that are going on at school that everybody else seems to know about, that kids get upset about.
Would you think the principal would be the one to go to, or their peers?
Well, it depends on the relationship you have with their peers. I always tried to have lots of peers over at my house so I could grab them right away, and they don't. My kids, were at that situation where they go, oh my gosh, Emily and Bobby have Dr. Newman as a mom, so she's going to ask us questions. And they just kind of got used to it. So they were over a lot, and I would ask them. And I was upfront about it. But the school counselors really, the thing that you talked about, like teachers not being involved or not caring, that's not ever been the respect experience.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I have to tell you,
this
have
was a national survey.
Yeah,
It just shocked me.
We have community partners throughout all the school districts here, the Catholic schools, OPS, Ralston, West, all of them, and they reach out all the time for help and wanting programming for their kids and so forth. So I'm sure there's always that person, but that is not the systems, any of the systems across the states that we've experienced. But, so the counselors have always been pretty helpful. I mean, like if I, for my own children, would call any of their counselors and I'd say, I'm worried about Emily because she seems kind of withdrawn. Do you have any idea what's going on? They might not know, but they would go ask. And they would do it in a way that was confidential and private. So, I always tell people, I have great data as a psychologist, but my data is based on the majority of kids. It's based on stats. Parents know their kids better than anybody else. If you're worried about your kid, then you follow up because that's what you do.
We're going to follow up with the show and we're going to take a little break, I think. Oh, I don't see Chad. Chad, we're taking a little break, honey? Yeah. Chad was, he's a happening kind of guy. This is Conversations with Suzanna. We're here with Dr. Patricia Newman. She founded Respect. It is a group that will help guide you through all the drama of bullying. And we'll be right back with her, and we will talk more of what to do if we think our child is bullied. How do we handle it? And we'll go on with this. If you have questions, please feel free to call. The number is 402-255-2000.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. The difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. Studies prove that reading to a child regularly dramatically improves reading skills. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate. So United Way is calling for 1 million volunteers over the next 3 years. We're asking you to step up, make a pledge, tutor a child who needs help, mentor a kid who needs someone on their side, volunteer to read to children, make a difference. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Entire communities improve. The path to success or failure starts long before graduation day, and the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Be a reader, tutor or mentor, give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge. Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Teresa Elliott with the Elliott Company and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate. And I'm excited to be sponsoring Conversations with Suzanna, a show that will connect you with the tools you can use to live your life in peace and harmony. Simply go to elliotomaha.com and click on Life Tools for empowering ideas to live your life with purpose and harmony.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
You are exactly where we need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna. We're on the World-Herald Live app. We're from 12 to 1. We're also at omaha.com/Suzanna. On that app, you get to see the beautiful guest I have in the studio. You get to see my greenery without the roses. The roses sort of went to poop on us. Can I say poop on the air? Chad is nodding, saying, okay. The roses were pretty bad. So we're talking bullying today. And what I'd like you to do is if you feel you have a question, please feel free to call us. This show is about you. It's about getting you the information you need to make your days better. It's about giving you information that can make you sound smart around the water cooler. It can make you sound smart at dinner. I mean, this is the show that will give you the information you need. If you have a subject you want to talk on, please go to us on the Omaha World-Herald. The Facebook will get you right to me, or the Twitter, and send me a message. I'll research anything you want to talk about. Right now, we're talking to Dr. Patricia. Last name is Newman. And Newman was on TV as a psychiatrist. Do you remember that? No, you don't.
I don't.
The crazy one who was, he had the crazy, oh, you don't remember that. What was that show? Do you remember? And Chad doesn't remember. I'm older than you guys. That's why I remember. Anyway, Dr. Patricia, you're a child clinical psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
You work with children all the time, and you started the Respect, the group that is staging conversations for everyone about being bullied.
Right.
One thing I asked, I said, when I was growing up, I was bullied. I was dark. I was different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about being different. You said you were bullied. You're a beautiful blonde. What'd they bully you on?
Oh, I was poor. My parents were divorced.
Oh, nothing
right.
you could have changed.
Of course not. Right.
And do people always pick on you, bullies? Do they pick on things you can't change?
Right. They have some kind of, at least perceived power, and that power depends, I mean, power is based on, the attributes other people in society give it, right? So
Right.
It can be, your social status, your academic status, your physical stature. It can be anything,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I had a client on, and she's going to be on Monday, 8 to Great. She said that bullies become bullies because they want to be noticed, and that nobody has gone up to the bully and saying, what is it you want? Is that true?
I would say that I think that pretty much that's true. We know that kids aren't born to be bullies. We know that bullying is learned behavior, and that you can learn behavior in a variety of places, a variety of ways, and that if kids aren't given the information that what they're doing is wrong, and given an alternate behavior that will help them get their needs met, that they will continue.
I
So,
think
yes,
that's a
I think
great
she's
statement.
right.
Giving an alternate behavior.
Right.
Because our choices seem to be sometimes limited
Right.
if we're a young age.
Right.
So, do you think movies tend to make us bullies? Are there?
No.
You don't think what we
well-
watch on the TV screen, what we watch, do you think that affects our attitude much?
Oh, I think it totally affects our attitude, but I don't think that in and of itself will create a bully. I think it's about balance. So, if you have kids who now and then play a kind of violent video game or watch a movie, but they also have other things in their life. They're going to church, they're doing family activities, they're playing outside, they're doing their homework. If they have a balance, now and then watching a movie, now and then doing a video game, that is different.
So
but if you have a child who every single day is coming home and all weekend, that's all they're doing, and they're not having anyone talk them through it to understand that that's not real, or what are you doing, or why are you doing this, or understanding the context of that violence, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's all about the balance.
I think so. And how
Because
adults help them.
I get nervous about those games. I get
I do
nervous
too.
about those games.
I do too.
But it's not the games. But when I was growing up, and I'm in my 60s, but when I was growing up, we had cowboys and Indians.
Right.
We shot guns.
Right.
We knew that's not something you do in real life.
Right.
So I don't know, is it a bogus thing that these people say that because they're shooting guns and videos of people that gets them desensitized to that? Is that?
I don't think it's bogus, but I think you have to look at the amount of it.
Okay.
And what other experiences you're giving kids, and if you're helping kids, are you using that just as a way to babysit your kids, and you're never talking with your kids? And we're also throwing video games all into one big bag,
Right.
and there are some that I think are so violent that I don't even think they should, in my opinion.
Be
no
on-
one should
on the- yeah.
use them or look at them. But so, we're throwing those all in one bag, right?
Right.
But anything that we do with our kids that has that kind of dynamic, I think we should be talking with them about. We should certainly sit down and spend some time and play some games with them so that we know what our kids are doing and what they're seeing and how they're interacting, because sometimes parents have no idea. They buy the most popular game and they say everyone else is, so it must be okay, and they have no idea what that entails.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to
And
know
what that's teaching the children.
Right.
What that's
Right.
teaching the
Right.
children. You were telling me that that there seems to be a progression of more violence and more bullying. Is that correct?
Right. Well, and we see that, and the research will show that even as early as preschool, if you have a child who's acting out as a bully, and again, no one gives them any intervention, so no one says that's wrong, and yes, you want my attention, but you don't hit to get it, for example. That's very simple. And if it just stays that way, there's no intervention, no education, then they continue the bullying pattern, and then when they're in other relationships, they start to date, they get married, they're, a manager at a work environment, they have a pet or whatever. The way they get their needs for power met can be abusive and violent and bullying. So, because it's about a healthy relationship. It's about an interaction. Mm-hmm. So you use those same dynamics if they work for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about like a preschool and they're biting?
Yeah, that's oh, I get a lot of calls about that. I mean, and that a lot of preschool kids bite, and you give them firm, communication that you can't do that, and you set them in timeout for a very brief period of time, and then you bring them back and you distract them, and they grow out of it. I mean, by far, the majority of them are not doing that as bullying behavior. So you also have to know what's normal and what's not.
And that's not a sign of a future bully?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. Biting, a lot of children just bite in preschool. Yeah. Mine did. Yeah. It's really common. And it's so frustrating for the teachers because everybody wants to blame somebody for it. And well, you can't let it go. I'm not saying you can let it go. You have to have a consequence. But no, more you would see kids, and we do see early childhood children who will push and throw furniture or beat on people or scream or run away or yell. Those kinds of things. We have to figure out what's going on there. Why are they doing that? They're not bad people. Bullies aren't bad people. And bullying is a human behavior, so everybody is probably a bully at some time or another. I think I've been a bully before. I mean, I may be sorry about it and I may not have known it at the time, but I think I think many people would fess up to the fact that sometimes they've used their power and control in a way that wasn't as kind as they wish in retrospect they had done it.
Well, just between you and me, and don't let this go any farther, but when I was growing up, I was the black sheep of the family. Mm-hmm. So my cousin got all the attention. And one day, I digged my fingernails into her arm. And she remembers that still and holds it over me. Which it should be, right? Was that a bully tactic?
No, because remember, we said bullying happens over and over and over again. Right. It's a repeated pattern.
So I'll have to call my cousin and say, let it go.
It's always better to let that stuff go if you have context for it. Now, I don't want to back up there because someone could take that out of context. I'm not suggesting that people be victims or not stand up for themselves because they need to. Okay. But I would hope that after this long, in the specific situation you just shared with me, that if you want a relationship with her, you'd both understand why that happened.
We have a great relationship. Yeah. It's just a
memory share. You were hurt because you weren't included, and one day you were young and you got mad and you acted out and you're sorry, and maybe she understands that now, and it should be okay. But I don't see that as a
So, as a bully, if I had been a bully in the past and I have learned my lesson and realized how bad it is, how do I change? I mean, because you're caught in this, people start defining you by your actions.
Sure they do.
So, it's just sort of sad when you think about that. We lock ourselves into a place that is not supportive. So if I'm being bullied, if my child is being bullied, how do I help the bully seeing that is not the way to proceed? I'll let you think on that because I believe we take another break. I didn't get the finger twirl from Chad. And I missed that twirl. He's not doing it anymore. I don't know what's up with that. So we'll come right back, and you're going to answer the question.
Okay.
If, as being someone who's being bullied, what do we do? What is our defense?
Sure.
We're coming right back. This is Conversations with Suzanna on the World-Herald live app. We're also at omaha.com, Suzanna/Suzanna app. You come back. We're talking bullying. If you have a question for our guest, who is a clinical child psychologist, please give us a call at 255-2000.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under...
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
We have to clear out this garage. This old paint's gotta go.
I know. Good thing I just heard about Under the Sink.
What's that?
The place where you drop off all the hard-to-dispose-of stuff.
Great, now it can help keep Omaha beautiful and keep our home looking beautiful, too.
Under the Sink at 120th and I Street is a free service from the City of Omaha. You can bring things like paint and auto fluids, items not accepted, or tires, electronics, ammunition, explosives, asbestos, radioactive items, yard waste, garbage, and waste from businesses. Open Wednesdays and Fridays 9 to 5, Thursdays 9 to 6:30, and Saturdays 9 to 1. Closed Sunday through Tuesday. See more at underthesink.org. Call 444-7465. A message from Keep Omaha Beautiful, Inc.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by adoptuskids.org.
Okay, here goes. I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than I do about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like PB&J, pigs in a blanket. Oh, and fish sticks. They do love fish sticks. Fillets I get, but sticks? What part of the fish does the stick come from? I know I can read a cookbook that'll tell me how to make a red wine reduction, but where are the cookbooks that can teach me how to cut the crusts off bologna sandwiches? Oh, maybe we can compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with brie? Everybody likes brie, right?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to push your food around their plate. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Teresa Elliott with the Elliott Company and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate. And I'm excited to be sponsoring Conversations with Suzanna, a show that will connect you with the tools you can use to live your life in peace and harmony. Simply go to elliotomaha.com and click on Life Tools for empowering ideas to live your life with purpose and harmony.
Place or what? We are here, and this is Conversations with Suzanna, and we are live on the World-Herald live app. We're also on the omaha.com/Suzanna app, where you can see my beautiful guest who is here with me. She is Dr. Patricia Newman, who started the Respect Group, which stages conversations about healthy relationships. I must tell you, doing it as a play, you do this in all venues like churches and schools and things.
Libraries, everywhere.
And libraries. So if they would like to call you, are they respecttoall.org. The number is 402-965-1425. So if I'm not feeling respected, and if I'm being bullied, how do you get me to the place where I can love myself? Which is the key. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a big question. But
I know.
first you listen. And you respect people's feelings, and you take them where they're at. So if a child comes up to you and your child tells you they're being bullied and they're upset and they're angry, you might even think, oh, maybe they contributed to it. But at that moment, their feelings are very real. And so you validate who they are. You accept that they know what their feelings are. And so I think accepting
So you validate their
first.
feelings.
Absolutely.
I come up and say, nobody likes me. You validate that?
No, but you validate that it seems like you're really angry and you're sad because you feel like nobody likes you. You know, it's the feelings about that.
Let's do a little role play.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody likes me.
Oh, honey.
I'm short and I'm dark.
Oh, honey, I think you're so cute and you're so beautiful, but why do you think that?
Because they don't want to be around me and they don't talk to me.
And how does that make you feel?
Abandoned.
Yeah, I bet it does. It would make me feel lonely and sad, too. So, why don't you tell me what happened? What happened today?
They just didn't come over and talk to me.
And so, you were at recess?
Yes.
And you were all alone?
All alone.
And no one came over to play with you?
No.
So, what did you do?
I was waiting for recess to be over.
Did you try to go talk to any of the other kids or join in? What were they doing?
Oh, so that's what you do. I think I'm at the end of that conversation because it is you help the child have the power to realize that it's not them, but they have to be an active part of not being bullied.
Right. But you have to get them calm. And you have to accept that they are feeling this way. And then you have to get more information. And they might say, I tried 6 times and they were mean to me. And then you might say, okay, well, maybe we need to go talk to Mrs. Cooper about that because that's not okay. Or they might say, well, you know, they found a slug over there. And they were so busy looking at the slug that they forgot I was over here. You know, so you have to get, and then you can say to them, oh, honey, I bet they would have loved to have you there, but sometimes they were so distracted looking at the slug that even though you were sad, I bet if you had gone over there, they would have let you look too. Because who was over there? Well, John was over there. Well, does John usually let you play with him? Oh, yeah, but he didn't invite me over. So you kind of help them piece it together. And then you as the adult have to be able to figure out when you need more information and what different strategies that, you know, you can use. And so you might say to them, like, for tomorrow, well, okay, tomorrow if that happens again, what are you going to do? And, you know, okay, do you want to practice it? Do you want me to be one of the kids? And do you want to practice it with me, what you're going to do? And then report in and see, because what you're trying to do is give them different ways to see the world. So they see the world as having more options and having some strategies that they can apply. Because you'd rather have them be in charge. You know, it's more empowering if they can do it.
You know, there are many adults like this.
Oh, yes.
Many.
Oh, of course.
I hate to say this.
Yes.
You many adults. I've had a client who said, everybody in the office hates me.
Right.
And she didn't talk to anybody in the office.
Right.
But she had the feeling, and she did 20 years in an office at a desk feeling everybody hated her.
Right. Did she ever follow up on it? Do you know?
No.
What was going on?
No, I don't do follow-ups. I just tell them, no, they don't hate you. Right. You just don't communicate, and they don't understand you.
Right.
People don't understand. If they don't communicate, people think they don't like them.
Yes. You know, I always say to my own 2 children, if there was a gift I could give you of all of my years of education and training, it would be that it's with regard to interactions with people, it's not all about you.
Not all about
you. I mean, we tend to think that, and sometimes, we're thinking, oh, they walked by me in the hall and they didn't talk to me because they don't like me, I'm not good enough, I don't fit in. But lots of times, they just have something else in their mind. It's not about you at all. But I think there's a tendency.
Not about you.
It's not about you. It's really about where they're
at. Are you
at.
telling me the world doesn't revolve around me?
Well, yeah.
Chad, you're going to let her get away with saying that? Chad says yes.
And isn't it a good thing?
Yeah.
Because it's a huge burden to have the whole world revolve around you. And if you see it that way, you can go up and you can say to someone, did I do something to bother you? Because actually I've said hi to you a couple times in the hall, and both times, you haven't said hi to me. And this happened to me once when my child was in kindergarten, and she said, I'm sorry, my mom is really sick, and I've just been rushing in and out to drop the kids off, and I go straight to the hospital. So if I hadn't checked it out, I would have thought she didn't like me because I wasn't good enough, because I didn't fit into her situation. So it really helps to check in.
So it's a lot of misunderstandings.
I think a lot of them are.
Do you think bullies are misunderstood?
Oh, I do. I do.
And what do you think we should do with the bully?
Well, I think we have to give them feedback. They have to have we have to give them feedback, and there have to be consequences. But they need to know up front what the consequences in any environment are, that it's not tolerated. They have to be educated about it, because some of them are being bullied and they don't have any self-reflection, so they don't even know what they're doing. I mean, they know they shouldn't hit someone, but they don't know about leaving people out or using a tone of voice or being exclusionary in that way. So we have to educate them. We have to give them rules. We have to educate them, and we have to give them some practice, just like we would at any other school subject. You learn through practice. Give them some practice at how to be accepted and positive and gain something positive in their lives with regard to a relationship.
Interesting. But isn't it okay not to want to be friends with some people? I mean,
of course it is.
I mean,
that's not being a bully, though.
It's
not.
So I don't want to hang out with Sheila because Sheila is a gossiper.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheila then thinks I'm a bully because I'm not talking to her. I could think that I could be. So it could be, again, it's not all about her.
Right. You're just busy. Everybody has people that they hang out with that have more in common than others. But it's not okay to get online and make up rumors about someone so no one else will like them. Do you know what I mean? So how do you accept that we're all different and everybody can't be the best of friends, but still be respectful of their time and space and body and
that's
things.
Where the group respect comes from.
We try to do, right. Within communities. We can't do it. I mean, we don't have magic. We're a tool. We're a process. We need to do it within communities with the voices of the adults who care about the kids that we're working with.
This is Dr. Patricia Newman. She is with Respect. She started this group in 2000 to help us to learn how to communicate with everyone else. Please come back to us. We're taking a little break. This is Conversations with Suzanna on the World-Herald Live app or omaha.com/Suzanna. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking more about how to handle the bully situation in the world.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take a deep...
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't seen your lap in months. And even more stuff. But still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Is your dog getting into trouble digging in the trash, not listening? Come exercise his brain and his body at the Nebraska Humane Society. Whether he needs a tune-up, basic obedience, or even in-home training, we've got classes that work for you. Go to nehumanesociety.org. Best of all, proceeds stay at the shelter, so as you work with your dog, you help care for hundreds of hours. Come sit, stay, and learn at the Nebraska Humane Society.
Hi, I'm Teresa Elliott with the Elliott Company and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate. And I'm excited to be sponsoring Conversations with Suzanna, a show that will connect you with the tools you can use to live your life in peace and harmony. Simply go to elliotomaha.com and click on Life Tools for empowering ideas to live your life with purpose and harmony.
Jesse! Let's go, guys! Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty obvious.
Yeah, so obvious. Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna on the World-Herald Live app. You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 1. We're going to be talking about things you may not know about or things you may need to know about and things that'll entertain you and bring you smiles. I want you to know that we are also on the omaha.com/Suzanna app, where you can see my beautiful guest who is in the studio. Her name is Dr. Patricia M. Newman. She is a clinical child psychologist and the executive director of the Respect group that is staging conversations about bullying. They stage all around the area, churches, school. You could have them come in and talk to people about how not to be a bully, what to do with the bullying. And when we were on break, I tell that Dr. Patricia that I do appearances all over town. And in the break, I told her that I give everyone an affirmation. I believe, Doc, that the problem is we don't have good self-talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
I think we aren't taught that we are the vehicle of God in the world and that we need to honor and love ourselves no matter what everybody thinks.
Right.
You know. So I gave you an affirmation. I would love it if you read both sides of the card before you read the affirmation.
Okay.
The blue side too.
Right now?
Yes. The other side. The other side. All right, she puts on her glasses, very cute glasses.
The whole side, the Susanna side and the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, your breath is the breath of God. You are in on purpose. You are not a mistake. You are divine, manifested in physical form. And when you put yourself down, you are putting down God and those who love you. Now really, how dumb is that? And in parentheses, Susanna.
Is that great? Now here's the thing that I want to do in being a bullying. The whole thing is not realizing that you don't have to put other people down to be good.
Right.
I think bullies are afraid that if I don't make you look bad, you're going to look at me and see something bad.
Right.
When people criticize you, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
I think that's a big chunk of it. And I think we still have to give kids skills. So, we were talking about affirmations. And one of the things that we teach kids to do is we teach them to stop, think, how can I help? And that can be, how can I help myself? Wow. How can I help my friend? Even that starts in our preschool program. And
think,
right.
How can I help?
Right. Because it's what you were talking about earlier in break about breathing. You know, so much of the things that happen with regard to kids making bad decisions in negative peer pressure or bullying or getting into situations that they're just not comfortable in is because they acted impulsively without thinking. And they just think automatically, and it's a natural thing. But if you can get, and I know I always say, oh, how many times do I wish I had incorporated this into something? Because you can almost always do better with practice or stopping to think. So we teach even the little preschool kids, stop, think, how can I help? And when we do things online, it's stop, think, what could happen? So that's kind of good self-talk because it's giving you control. Almost always it's not an emergency. You don't, even as a parent, stop, think, how can I help my child? Almost always it's not an emergency. You could take a few minutes